The Bevel tool is very helpful in 3D modeling because it allows you to keep the realism in your hard edges. In real life, no edge is perfectly sharp like it is in the flat shaded cube that we have here, for example. Because no edge is perfectly sharp, most of the time you're going to want to bevel it in some way to keep the edges hard but realistic. So let's demonstrate what beveling is. There are two ways to bevel. You can either use the Bevel tool in edit mode, or you can use the bevel modifier. To use the tool, simply select the tool in the Quick Tools menu on the left while in edit mode. Let's go ahead and hit A to select all of our mesh. Then left-click drag anywhere in the viewport to begin adding a bevel to your selection. Let go of left-click to confirm. For hotkey users, you can press Ctrl B. As usual, right-click to cancel and left-click to confirm. Like many tools, after you confirm the action, an operator panel will appear in the bottom left. This gives you several more settings to tweak before finalizing the action. For example, you can change the width type, which are simply different ways of calculating the amount of bevel. The width is the value you can left-click drag to adjust the bevel amount. As for segments, this setting lets you change the resolution of the bevel, as the more segments you have, the rounder your corners can be, and profile adjusts the curvature of your beveled edges. Checking vertex only option will only bevel using vertices instead of edges as the source geometry. This will look very different, but can be helpful for certain situations. For hotkey users, you can also press Ctrl-Shift-B instead of Ctrl-B to access the vertex only bevel directly. Most of the other settings are perfectly fine at default values, but material is a very powerful one that I want to talk about real quick. To demonstrate what this does, let's go ahead and add a few materials to our object by pressing the plus key in the Materials tab of our Properties editor. We can then change the color of each material and set our viewport to rendered mode here. Let's go ahead and bevel the mesh once more in edit mode and open the operator panel. The material index allows you to use a different material in your object material list to do cool things like this. The material index is correlated to the material's position in the list. Another way to bevel is with the bevel modifier. Simply go to the wrench icon for the modifiers tab and select bevel modifier from the drop-down menu. You can see that this has very similar settings as the bevel tool operator panel. One important setting that differs is the limit method. This is how you can set the threshold for when the modifier should bevel your mesh. For example, by default, the limit method is none, which means it will indiscriminately bevel every edge loop or vertex in your mesh. However, if you limit by angle, you can specify to only bevel corners that exceed a certain angle. To demonstrate this, if we give this mesh a more varied shape, you'll notice that changing this value allows us to selectively bevel certain corners, but not others. On the other hand, weight and vertex groups allow you to hand-pick which corners get beveled. As with all modifiers, the bevel modifier is non-destructive, allowing you to work with your original mesh while still having bevel applied on top of your edits with no consequence.